What's up, fam bam? What's up, guys? As you know, we are, of course, there's an error during OBS. But anyway, the point is, of course, you guys know about the whole issues with the RAM and even the GPUs. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. Welcome in. And I have to say, has it gotten any better at all in January? And if you guys are currently on the outreach to try to attempt to get some GPUs, or maybe you're trying to get some RAM, you're trying to get a decent deal, I think everybody is pretty much in the same boat, trying to find the best that they can at their local micro centers at Newegg. And for anybody searching for RAM or searching for a PC build kit, I do highly recommend Micro Center, as they certainly do have the best build kit. Of course, if you don't have a Micro Center near you, you do have other options. You do have things such as you do have Newegg, but be really cautious on what you pick out. Amazon, also be cautious about what you pick out as well. I got my computer build at a good time. That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to get your PC built together. I know that a lot of people right now are certainly struggling on trying to build their PCs. Of course, it's so bad to the point when it comes to purchasing memory that even DDR3 is getting popular. Some of you may not even really remember DDR3, but of course, as the name states, you can just imagine how old it is. You're talking about memory back from 2013, 14 about, and they're starting to even spike up in price because of the popularity of RAM. And the crazy thing is, it's not like the stores are really short of RAM. Thank you, Robert, for joining.
Robert Johnson subscribed to the channel.
Certainly appreciate for subscribing. It's not like we have a true shortage of RAM. Not just yet. And the crazy part is, this is just like a gist of things to come. Because if this is going to be more of the norm, you're going to see on average $800 or $900 64 gigabyte kits of CL30 6000 megahertz of RAM. That's just going to be the new norm. Unfortunately, it's not going to drop down anytime soon. As you guys, if you followed it, this whole RAM increase actually started back in October. And ever since then, it's just been volatile. And each month, it's been nearly going up more than double. So even into January, if we take a look at the price chart, you're going to see quite how volatile RAM currently is. It's even gotten to the point where they joke about it, calling it spot price, because what you call spot price is usually on things like precious metals or commodities. And you can see how much it's increased. If you compared the charts together, like with silver or gold, you can see how much it increased. And also another I hate to be the bearer of bad news for this as well. And the other side that's also bad for all of us is that there's a possibility that power supplies are also going to go up in price, and CPU coolers may also go up in price as well because of the type of metals that they do use in order to create it. The cold plate, of course, uses copper typically, and then you do have some other components in there like silver that can be used especially on power supplies. And because of that, that can cause a small uptick, and they're talking about 20%. So CS Squawk says, I bought my RTX 5090 from Newegg and with their trade-in program. My RTX 4090 was dying, but somehow they didn't catch that and gave me 16. Oh, that is that is awesome, CS Squawk. I'm happy for you. You were able to pull that off. Now, if anybody out there has a 4090 that they need to get rid of, or has symptoms to, like, say, if you're starting to see pixelation, or you're seeing some weird artifacts or anything like that with your RTX 4090, you can always go to Newegg and attempt to go trade it in. That is something that can be done. There are also some quite developments for everybody that does have a AMD GPU. If you have an AMD GPU, certainly feel free to let me know if you do have one, because I gotta say, what are your thoughts about what I'm about to say here? It's kind of funny, but it's not, because people are really literally tired of hearing this word, and you probably have an idea of what word I'm going to use. So AMD is going to launch the Adrenaline Edition 226.1 drivers really soon. But you know what they call this package? It's going to be called the AI package. So there you go. So if you're looking for some AI package with your Adrenaline software, it's here. It's almost here. It's going to drop sometime soon. So Robert Cross says, I spent on the Corsair 32 gigabytes of RGB RAM, 192 pounds before Christmas. I look back on the receipt. It's insane. I could easily go back to my wonderful Micro Center receipts, and we can see how much of a change that there truly is when it comes to the pricing of RAM. So let's get into it. We're going to go take a look at Micro Center right now. And just to give you an idea for how it's looking currently, some of you are probably worried about the whole GPU market, and rightfully so. Right now, NVIDIA wants to focus on mainly pulling out a lot of their 16 gigabyte GPUs. So if you're in need of a GPU, I highly recommend on going ahead and looking between the range of a 5070 and 5070 Ti. Even though the 5070 doesn't have 16 gigabytes, at least it has 12 gigabytes. But they're talking about not really stopping the card, not really stopping production, but they're going to slow the production dramatically to where it seems like they're not making it anymore. So if you're looking for a bit more of a budget, 5070 is a bit more fair. If you're looking for something that has a bit more VRAM, then the RTX 5070 Ti is a valid option. That's 16 gigabytes, and it's still affordable today. Now, the reason why I didn't mention the RTX 5080 is because that is one of the cards where it has gone up dramatically when it comes to their GPUs. So Epic Gamer says, should you ever use a Epic CPU in a build? Not necessarily. If you're looking to do an Epic build, I highly recommend those who do plan on something like that. That's going to be more for like server grade usage. Unless you are trying to create, like, maybe say you're trying to create a network attached system, and then you're also trying to run, say, some sort of graphic design system, then it would be kind of worth looking into an Epic processor for something like that. Of course, you do have the option of building a separate PC on that case. Like, you could have one network attached system, and then you can also have a separate PC which focuses on graphic design. But again, if you're looking to go Epic, then it's going to be worth looking into more of multitasking, so to say. You're going to be practically building a server at that point. So I feel that the supercards need to add more CUDA cores, not just more VRAM. Not just like the 4070 Super was great with over 2,000 extra CUDA cores. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, Tony, because the thing is, when it comes to like the whole CUDA cores and everything that goes with NVIDIA cards, it seems that the generational leap hasn't been as much. For example, the RTX, we'll use the RTX 3060. So when you're going to the next generation, it's going to be the 40 series, and it's, say, the RTX 4060. You would think that would be like a dead-on match, which would be like more or so similar to a RTX 3060, but unfortunately, it's actually more of a downgrade. You're actually going back like a slight. It's going to be like almost like a RTX 4050, and then it gets worse. It gets progressively worse when you go to the 50 series. So it's like you're even dropping down another level. So the 30 series was like the last real great series NVIDIA had, especially when it came to like more of the budget friendly or more of the mid-tier cards. But now the 50 series is a bit questionable, especially once you go under the 5070. So I bought 48 gigabytes of RAM about 4 months ago, then I upgraded to a 5070 Ti. I think I'm about good, maybe, yes. So there is one thing I certainly do want to emphasize for all you PC enthusiasts out there, or if you own a PC as it is already. Do not panic. Don't be in any sort of rush to worry about purchasing RAM. And the reason being, more than likely, that RAM that you currently have, especially if you're a PC gamer, where you don't do anything too crazy to the point where you need extra RAM, like you're into like video productions or anything like that. And even then, so you don't need to get the extra RAM if you don't have to. So don't force a budget that you don't have, especially on how volatile and how expensive RAM currently is. Now, if we take a look at a set right now, we're going to take a look at we'll take a look at some computer memory right here, and then we're going to see about what the pricing is. Now, for a Corsair 64 gigabytes, now this is pretty decent RAM, 6000 megahertz. You're looking at $876 that you're going to easily spend on a RAM kit. Now, if you already have 64 gigabytes of RAM, and say you do video production, 64 gigabytes technically should be just good enough for you guys. There is no rush to get up to 128 gigabytes if you needed it, especially if you're focusing on, say, like 4K content, or if you're doing any type of rendering. I'd say 64 gigabytes is plenty, to be honest. A lot of people can certainly get away with it. You don't have to expand into extra memory unless you absolutely need to, unless you get the warning messages saying you're using up that memory allocation to full storage. Most of the time, most people out there will not really see that message. I know Windows does end up taking up quite a bit of memory when it comes to it. So why can't AM5 controllers handle why can't they handle 4.6? Well, they can. It's not that they can't. They could handle up to 4.6, but the thing is, it's just it's much more optimized. Especially if you're more of a gamer, it is much more optimized for people to actually game on a dual RAM, because it actually runs a bit quicker. There's less communication, less of a delay when it comes to your memory because of that. What's up, Carl Tweaks? What's going on? I have anyone else buffing here? Is anyone out there buffering? Let me know. I hope not. I hope the connection is decent enough for you guys. Speaking of which, going into the RAM side, if you already own the RAM, you already have a PC built, no need to panic. You don't have to hurry up and purchase RAM. But for those who certainly say you need a GPU, I do. Okay, perfect. So for example, if you do need a GPU, that you do have an issue with your GPU, I highly recommend going ahead and doing an upgrade now, because if you haven't followed, GPU pricing has actually kind of been a bit crazy as of late. Now, if we take a look at a RTX 5080, you guys can take a guess on how much a RTX 5080 originally was. The pricing has quite dramatically increased because of it. And again, this is a RTX tough gaming card. ASUS has 4 different tiers when it comes to their GPUs, or when it comes to any of their brand, when it comes to their line. So you have the ASUS Prime, which is going to be like the bottom of, like, more the budget friendly side. And then once you go into the tough gaming side, it's a bit more budget. And then once you enter the ROG Strix, that's like mid tier. And then once you go to ROG, just this typical ROG, then that's like the highest you can certainly afford. So for the ASUS NVIDIA RTX 5080, you're going to easily spend $1,400, and this is Micro Center pricing. And Micro Center does really good when it comes to their pricing, guys. So it's not just them. It's going to look a bit more crazy, I guarantee you, if we go into Newegg. So the actual leap in CUDA cores are in the 90 GPUs. What did you do with your 4090? Did you trade it, or I believe somebody just traded their RTX 40. It was CS Squawk. He ended up trading his 4090, and he ended up trading it in for. I'm sure he'll share exactly what he traded in for. But CS Squawk was able to take advantage of Newegg's trade-in program. If you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do. They don't only trade GPUs. They also do other trades as well. If you are looking to trade, say, like maybe you have a motherboard, they definitely will take your RAM. If you got some RAM, I know they'll take it. So if we go ahead and take a look here, we take a look for a RTX 5080, probably a similar one, just so to say. And we're going to get into the 5090s in a bit, because that will make you probably roll. That will just make you just want to throw up. So the 5070 graphics card is a great card. Absolutely is. Especially because of the advantages that you certainly can have. If anyone is interested in things like frame generation, usually not a lot of people are, but you do have those options if you are open to it. Now, if we look for the same exact card, we're going to check sold by Newegg. Now, that's one of the first things anybody should click on when they go into Newegg. You don't want to end up with a box of bricks or a box full of bags in there or anything like that. So click sold on Newegg first. And then you want to go over and to look at the GPU side, which we're going to go look in ASUS. We're going to compare the pricing when it comes to their tough gaming RTX 5080. Now, this is going to be, of course, their Hatsune Miku edition, which is not in everyone's budget. That's $1,900 there for a 5080, which should be like a 5090 for that price. But that's one of the only editions they have in stock. It looks like they're out of stock of the tough gaming. Actually, they were going to sell it for a decent price at $1,400. Now, technically, to me, now when it comes to the RTX 4080, this is not a typical price. This for the 5080, it should be a lot closer to around here. It should be closer to around like $1,200 for a tough. Now for the prime, this is fair. This is very fair pricing because 1,000 is like the lowest. It's the closest thing you can get to a Founders Edition. So, wow, over $4,000 for a 5090, crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. So the reason why I wanted to warn everybody out there who is looking to build a PC or you're looking to upgrade your PC hardware, you're going to see how crazy the pricing truly is. Now, if we go ahead and say we click sold by Newegg like we originally did, we go and click sold by Newegg and see if they have anything available. And obviously they don't. And that's the problem here. Now we are having a bit of a shortage when it comes to the RTX 5090s. They sold instantly. Even if you check out the Micro Center store, I'm going to open up another tab here. If we go check out Micro Center, the Miami location specifically had over 20 RTX 5090s in stock. So just imagine over 20 in stock. Now let's take a look at how much they have. So it's a good thing for whoever's tuning in to know this, because now you know if you do see a 5090, it's probably a good time to grab it. Because, luckily they do have one in stock. And it's not the RTX 5090, the Astral Edition. Again, they had over 20 in stock. But as you guys can see, it's sold out. That people actually bought out the RTX 5090s. They do have one in stock for anyone that is interested at the Miami location of the MSI NVIDIA RTX 5090 Supram. It's practically like the AIO for the NVIDIA card, but they do have one in stock in Miami. I would hurry up and pick it if that is what you truly need. I don't recommend it for any typical gamer out there because I'm sorry, you're not going to use the full power of a 5090 unless even like RTX 5080 had the power to run 5 to 6K. And you wouldn't have any issues. So, Fart Glob Granny says, I'm getting a 5070 Ti this weekend. I haven't bought any other PC parts, lol. Just trying to get what I can while I can. I agree. Smart. If you need PC hardware, you want to back up a PC build, because once that GPU completely takes a full shit on you, then you're gonna be completely SOL at that point. And you don't want to be. You don't want to go into the store and then you end up you're going from, say, a 4080 over to a 5060, because it'll run for now, but it might not satisfy the exact needs that you need. The reason why I do highly recommend the 5070s and the 5070 Ti's is because they actually are fairly priced. They haven't gone up quite dramatically in pricing. So, hey, I would start building now, Cyber. Start taking a look at your Micro Center. So, start trying to grab the deals that you can. Yep, the PNY model stays at MSRP. See, there you go. See, the PNY NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 Ti is priced at currently at $750. So you can pick up a fairly priced GPU, 16 gigabytes, and this would satisfy for anybody who games on 1440. If you game on 4K, this would still be plenty for you guys. I highly recommend the 5070 Ti's. If you are willing to go to AMD, I also highly recommend the 9070 XT. It's a beast of a card. There's another card for those who worry a bit more of on the memory side. I actually just checked it yesterday. I'm curious to see how it looks today, which is the 7900 XTX. That's also another great card by AMD. Now this has up to 24 gigabytes of memory, and they do have 12 in stock. I bet this will not last long. There's going to be people that's going to buy this out just because the simple fact that it has that extra VRAM that some people are looking for. But if you are not looking for that and you're looking for something a bit more modern into this generation, then I would highly recommend either the 5070 or 5070 Ti or the RX 9070 XT. And the RX 9070 XT is for those gamers out there who are looking to try to get the most out of their ultra wide display, just say, where if you have a 2560 by 1440 resolution type of monitor, this would actually be a great card for you guys, and you could purchase it for $600. So the 5070 works very well on the Intel Ultra 9. Absolutely, it's a great card for anyone that is on Intel. It's awesome for anyone that is into, say, like if you are into streaming, that's actually a great combination, having an Intel processor and the NVIDIA GPU, because they go hand in hand very well when it comes to their encoders. And also, if you are more of a fan of, say, like using Adobe, or maybe you're into things like graphic design, it's also great for that. So the Red Devil 7 says, the 7900 XEX great card, but not the best. Yes, that is true. It isn't the best for ray tracing. If you want to level up on your ray tracing side, it's actually better to go 9070 XT. That is the closest thing you can get to like top grade ray tracing when it comes to AMD. And the reason being is because they actually improved the ray tracing cores in here, so you actually are very close to, say, a RTX 5070 when it comes to the ray tracing side. The only thing is, for anyone out there that is looking for something as advanced as path tracing, unfortunately AMD is still like a couple generations behind on that side. I won't be good in path tracing, but if you are a quality freak, then for sure NVIDIA would be the better choice to go. But if you are more of performance and for gaming use, I would say 9070 XT would be great for many people out there. So I like the 9070 XT pricing, but I keep seeing stories about driver timeouts, and I get that part. And the fun reason, there's a good reason behind that. Most of the people that end up getting AMD cards, they don't really update their drivers as much. And then there is some incompatibility issues when it comes to Battlefield 6. So you may hear it more often on, like, if you are a Battlefield 6 player and you have an AMD card, it might be a bit problematic, or it might not be at all. Now, specifically, if you do have, like, say, a lower grade one, like a 9060 XT, you will run into the problems a bit more compared to somebody that has a 9070 XT. For example, I know someone who has a 9070 XT. In fact, it was the PC build that I built with the 9600X and a 9070 XT, and it works phenomenal. I only had one crash ever since Battlefield 6 has launched, and he has well over 100 hours into the game. So, but no issues. He plays all his games great, has no problems. Now, it just depends on how frequent you are willing to update your drivers, and be sure to look for that new 26.1 update that has the AI package AMD is rightfully emphasizes for anyone out there that is looking for it. So, bro, Newegg is scamming me. I just wanted to see how much I would get for a 4070 Super. It would give me $200 on eBay. They are selling for more than what? No way. There's no way they're going to say I'm going to give you $200 for a 4070 Super. I'm about to look at that myself. Yeah, let's say we're on Micro Center right now. Let's go on Newegg, and we'll actually look, because Newegg has a GPU trader in here. So if you are looking to trade some of your old hardware, you just want to get rid of it, Newegg will take it. They will take it. So Captain Cave says, would you upgrade from a 7? No. No, I would not. Now I have to be straight with that answer, because it's not going to be that much of a change. you're going to see an uplift on your IPC. You'll probably see, this is my estimation here. I haven't benched it yet or anything. I have been trying to get in touch with AMD to try to get like a sample of a 9850X3D so I can test it for you guys to let you know how much of a difference it is compared to a 9800X3D. But I can certainly tell you, like, over the 7800X3D, I would imagine that compared to the 9800X3D, you're going to see like a 10 to 15% uplift. And from the 9850X3D, you would see probably closer to maybe about 15 to 20%. So it's going to be a slight increase. It's not going to be dramatic, but then again, I could be completely wrong. From what it seems like, from what they offer on the dies, it isn't that different compared to the 9800X3D. So I just got called a cornball for having a 3050 and a 1060. I was still getting more FPS than the guy, then jumped to the excuse that I was using some optimizer or a game mod. Well, the crazy thing is, like, you still can game on a lot of these older cards. In fact, I was talking to ROG Gaming, and he said that he had no issues with gaming on an RX 580, and that's an old card, and was playing Battlefield 6 perfectly fine. So, I mean, it can be done. It could certainly be done. People are still looking up DDR3 in order for you to be able to play these games. So I sent you a link on Discord to check out the Micro Center deals in Phoenix. Oh, no, you know what? I can easily swap the store. That won't be an issue. We can take a look on Phoenix, the Phoenix store, if anyone would like. And I know we're looking for the fresh deals. So let's take a look at what Newegg has to offer when it comes to their trade-in here. I believe it's right on top of their page. They kind of offer it right away, I remember. Let me see. GPU, let me just look it up here, because it'll actually come up. GPU trade-in. Let's see. There it is. Trade in your GPU or CPU. So if anyone has a GPU laying around, you can also trade it into Newegg and they'll take it. So let's find a new GPU. Well, let's not find it. Let's get an estimated value. So they do have a value list for anybody that is willing to trade in their GPU here. Now, AMD Ant-Man says, I have a spare 4060 1TB M.2, 32 gigabyte DDR. Yeah, I mean, you easily could. The crazy thing is, over at Micro Center, as you know, they still do sell AM4 motherboards, so you could actually still pick it up with no problem. MSI Ventus 2X. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at that. The MSI Ventus 4070. All right, let's go down. Right here. MSI Ventus. MSI. Well, they're just going off of NVIDIA card. 4070 Super, right? So $300. So that's the average that they're giving for it. So they're giving like $300 if you have a RTX 4070 Super. So I don't know if anyone's willing to give it up for $300 because you might as well just... I'm sure someone else would actually buy it for a better deal than that. I can say that. I'd say it's really worth it though if you do have a 4090, because that's $1,200 quick. That's a bit more fair for anyone that has one. I mean, technically, we paid for the card not even close to. That's like what we paid almost MSRP when the card first came out. So. Red Devil says, I was trying to convince my friends to switch to PC, but with these prices, yeah. I mean, they're going to stick with the console for obvious reasons. It's going to look crazy. So anybody out there, I have to throw this in the mix here. Has anyone seen the new pricing for the rumored Steam machine? Has anyone heard what the pricing could possibly be? So while you guys take a gander at that, or think about that question about how much exactly a Steam machine will be, I will throw a poll up for you guys because I am curious about how many people are actually interested in getting a 9850X3D. So I'm going to throw this poll up there for you guys, and you let me know what you think. You just simply put 1 or 2. So the poll is about to come up here. So let's see. Where did the poll go? I guess it doesn't want to work today. Where is my poll? Maybe it's because I got to refresh my poll here. But take a guess on how much it is. So people are saying 14,700. Let Let me reset this. I'm gonna retry this. Reset poll. Oh, my fault, guys. There we go. It figures right when I reset it, something like that happens. Okay, so I'm gonna reset the poll. I'm gonna hit enable, and we will see if it works. And I guess the poll doesn't want to work. All right, let's try this. There we go. I think it's gonna work now, guys. There we go. So, are you planning to get a 9850 extra D? I would love to get a consensus on that. So, the 14700K is just a 14900K with 2 less cores. Practically, I actually recommend those CPUs a lot more. The ones with less cores for gamers, because you don't need such high multi-core count when it comes to gaming. A lot of games actually require more single-core processing, so you can get away even with a 14600K. Even a 13600K would be good. So I've seen some leaks saying 900. Okay, so Red Devil's thinking about 900. I just checked Newegg for a 5080 example, and they're what? No, there's no way they're giving you. Well, they say $600 if you have a 5080. Which is kind of ridiculous. That's more than half price of what the 5080 is worth brand new. So it's like, it's kind of hard to give up. I'm guessing they're assuming that the card, you got it when they first released, but still, they got to adjust the pricing list for sure. So $1,200, Captain Cave says. So enough too. Okay, so nobody's too interested in getting the 9850X3D. So far we got no. So in order to vote in the poll, you just simply put 1 or 2. Now, to give you the answer about the Steam machine, they are saying that this new Steam machine is going to be roughly about, this is rumored pricing for like the real base model, is going to be at $600. Now, you can get a more upgraded version of it. If you get the more upgraded version, it could be as high as $900. So would that interest anybody out there in order to get a Steam machine? Only problem is, excuse me, the only problem is I don't know how Steam will emphasize that price, if they're able to hold that price, especially for how volatile everything is going to be when it comes to the pricing. So Chris, should I get a 11900K and a 5060 or a 2080? 11900K and a 50, get both? Are you saying get both a 5060 or a 2080? Like just one choice? It all depends. I'm more than happy with my 9800 X3D, rightfully so. I think most people are happy with their 9800 X3D for the most part. Captain Cave says, no, I'm going to wait for the next one. The AM5, it's supposed to, oh, you mean you're going to wait for a Zen 6? Are you waiting for Zen 6 or AM6? AM6, we probably, realistically, AM6 is probably going to get delayed. If you guys don't know, when it comes to consoles, when it comes to a lot of the gaming consoles such as Xbox and PlayStation, they were supposed to have some sort of indicator for their new consoles this year. But more than likely, as you guys can guess, they're also getting delayed because of hardware problems. So I was reading rumors. I'm not sure if it's true. Yes, yes, I've also heard this. This actually was in talks since last year about the whole Microsoft Windows 12. They are bringing up ideas of bringing out Windows 12. And the reason being is because, you know what's funny about Windows 11? That was supposed to be like the type of OS that was supposed to last us 10 years. That's what Microsoft told us. But obviously, it's such a piece of crap product that nobody likes it. So now they gotta hurry up and make sure to get rid of it and update it. And because it's so bad, like even like when you set up Microsoft Windows 11, it's just horrible. Yeah, it forces you to sign on to your Microsoft account in order for you to continue the installation. That's the only Windows install where you had to have online service for you to install Windows, which makes absolutely no sense. Now, Half-Life 3 will come up before the Steam machine. Yes, I hope so. I am so hyped for I am hyped for Half-Life 3. I really am. I really hope that comes out before Steam machine. Because all the people that are planning to get Steam machine, they'll get pretty pissed that we got it first. So my i7 is fast, but when I play a 16 player Beam 50 gig of Yeah, I would imagine so. I was shocked about how much slower Arrow Lake is compared to Rabbit. Yeah, it's incredibly slower because it's trying to be energy efficient at the same time. That's why I haven't built on the Arrow Lake platform just quite yet. We do have an Arrow Lake board here, but I'm waiting for Arrow Lake's refresh, which is allegedly going to come out within March. So if you are a Intel fan, there is a rumor that it's going to drop sometime in March for Arrow Lake refresh. So if you are trying to get like a 290K or a 270K, it is rumored to come out around that time. Now, they're also going to come out with a new platform, which is going to happen around September. Typically, September, October, they'll have a new platform, but we just don't know what it's going to be quite yet. It's going to be obviously a hybrid of their Panther Lake. So I would imagine it's going to be quite beasted. I had an indication that originally it was going to, I heard originally it was going to use like things like DDR6, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially on how bad this whole RAM situation is. So, Slim Shady TX, what's up? So he said, I heard ASUS is going, nah, that's, so far I haven't heard anything like that. I've asked these questions. If anybody has any questions about TS 2026, feel free to ask. I was in attendance. I walked 15 miles a day and asked every question possible about every product that I could think of. So, but so far from what ASUS says, there is no plans in producing DDR memory. And of course, they don't have the fab to do so, but they do have ideas of what they might do, which is certainly interesting. But unfortunately, I don't think I can say anything quite yet, but it would certainly help the gaming community if they go ahead and do this. But to get similar performance to 14900K, you need to hit 9000 to 9200 to get comparable FPS. Like, wow. So you really got to push your numbers on Arrow Lake if you want to get those. If you really want to, it's funny because it's like the exact opposite of what Arrow Lake is supposed to be. So when I was installing Windows 11 on the computer I built, I didn't like Microsoft was looking for more information. It's annoying, right? Like, it asks you, like, oh, is it okay we can target you for marketing? Is it okay if we track your cookies? Is it okay that they practically ask for permission for everything? Is it okay that we can track you on GPS? So, yes, Panther Lake. What's up, Jerry? Good to see you in here. Squeeze says Intel on the 14th series aiming for speed, then the 15th gen slow office PC power efficiency. So, user says I have the Z890 Apex and Z790 Apex. Max overclock 14900K. It's just is better. I agree. I think it is truly better. And the reason why is because it has more power to it. Now, the Arrow Lake has its limiting power factor, so it's not going to be as good, but it is better in power efficiency sense. Kind of doesn't make sense because most people out there aren't looking for power efficiency when it comes to gaming. They are, but they're not. They're trying to get the best performance out their motherboard. The only thing that's scary for a lot of people out there, especially when it comes to the 13th and the 14th gen, yeah, I know. That's right, Jerry. You should have seen it. It was really good, the performance, especially with the Panther Lake. I am excited for some of the things that they did announce. But going back on that topic real quick, on the 13th, 14th gen, a lot of people are afraid because of the burning of the processors, which can easily happen if you don't have the BIOS up to date. But to pull back into the Intel, what's up, King? To pull back into the discussion with the Intel suite, the good thing is that they did mention that they are planning to release gaming handheld. So it does have quite a bit of really interesting takes, especially that has up to 12 cores built into their GPU. And this is an i3, guys. So just imagine the power that they could really push on Intel's Panther Lake if they really wanted to. Now, all of Panther Lake is going to have 12 cores at the minimum when it comes to the GPU side. So you can actually game on it. You can game Battlefield 6 and you won't really have issues on it. What's up, Simon? So Tony says, which gets hotter, a i9? Absolutely. Well, it depends on what's burning. Well, obviously the answer would be the Threadripper for sure. Threadripper will. It takes some power. It takes quite a bit of power. It was like actually like when I built the Zen 2 Threadripper build, it was actually one of the first platforms that actually featured that have two CPU plugs really to power inputs in order for you to power up the Threadripper. So you can just imagine how a new one is. Thank you for subscribing,
Mario BC
Mario.
subscribe to the channel.
Thank you for subscribing. It's not a power issue, it's a latency. You're looking at like between 8 to 15 nanoseconds on DDR5, and compared to DDR4, it's closer to 22 nanoseconds. Let me see. Did I miss something there, user? I'll catch it later on into the chat. So 85 to 90 degrees Celsius, easy. You have a AIO. Well, if anyone has a Threadripper, there is one that's really nice. It's by Silverstone. They actually have a really nice AIO. Just saying. I don't think anyone's thinking of building on a Threadripper platform. If you are, I congratulate you, because RAM is super friggin' expensive. As you've seen, they do have kits over at Micro Center, and over at Micro Center, you have to buy the full kit. Unfortunately, at the Miami location, they only have the used RAM. So they have like 17 used for some weird reason. I guess the people who bought it thought, hey, we can sell this now. We bought up all the RAM at Micro Center, which I'll show you in a bit. We bought up all the RAM at Micro Center, and now we can sell it. And I guess they never sold it, and they ended up returning the RAM. That's what I think happened, though. Let me show you. But this AIO is really good because it fits directly on a Threadripper PC. So let's see, where is it at? In fact, you know what? I'll go into Micro Center because I know they have it for sure. Silverstone AM Threadripper AIO. So I decided to keep the XG27. Yeah, I mean, you did the right choice. I expect a much difference between, it's not, yeah, I'm like I said, like when you go from IPS to OLED, especially at a tandem OLED, it's going to be quite the difference. Igor, what's up? Hi Chris, how was your CS? Did you get yourself something new, or did you just enjoy new stuff? I got like little gifts, but nothing crazy. Just like but yeah, I did certainly enjoy myself there. I met a lot of great people. Of course, there was a few people that weren't so great. And then there was also lots of food, which was nice because it's Vegas. You got to enjoy the food while you're there. But the only thing that was tough was getting through 15 miles a day of walking. And by the time I actually got back to Miami, my ankle was actually like about to get sprained. So I made sure to rest it like for a few days in order for it to heal. Otherwise, I would have been limping. So did you get the LGA 1700? I mean, oh, are you thinking between the LGA 1200? That's a big difference in platforms right there. How bad would it hurt my silicon if I put my PBO skill? Just a little. No Apple changing BIOS to iOS. So cool. I am glad you had a great time. Wish you all the best. Thank you, Igor. Make sure to catch all the videos. I still got a lot of content I do want to share with you guys with CES. There's a lot of great stuff, and I tried to make sure not to put too much of that AI stuff. I know there's quite a bit out there that you've probably seen at CES, but certainly over a lot of your favorite PC brands, they still stuck together and showed a lot of decent products. So user said minimum latency you can hit 58 nanoseconds on that Arrow Lake platform. That's like the hard minimum, and that assumes that the chip that does the NGU 36 you're running at 8800 or 9200. Yeah, that's going to be quite the difference. Raptor Lake is like 42 nanoseconds lowest as possible. I see it because it does have a much more higher rating when it comes to its usage. Chris, do you think? Hey, I mean, test it all you want. It's a golden processor right there. You know, like that's one of those things you certainly will expect. It's personally opinion. AIOs with those tubes are ugly. Yeah, it might not be a favorite, but this is certainly the most workable if you have a Threadripper, because you see the size of it, it's meant to fit directly on a Threadripper because that's how big that cold plate is. It's supposed to fit on the whole Threadripper. So something like this would be great for it. So Chris, I read it. Oh, did you? Oh, I would love to see it. Please send pictures on that. So, yeah, I think you read that too fast. I was expecting it a bigger. Oh no, yeah, it's not going to be like I said, Simon. I agree. It's not going to be like a big difference when it comes to the new RGB stripe over tandem. But for anyone that currently is on, say, like that's still on IPS, it would be a large leap compared to just standard OLED because you don't have standard OLED isn't as clear when it comes to text, but when it comes to RGB stripe, it's much more clear, similar to IPS. So Igor Explosion says, where I was in Italy, Milano last summer, I walked 10 miles per day. It's a huge city, a lot to see. You know, that's one place I gotta go is Italy. It's one of the places I'm planning on going, and that's one of the places I haven't been. But I would love to check it out though, for sure. It's thinner, and I added mesh to hold more water. Inside to get a tear though, I gotta refill it every time. Real? Oh, that's pretty crazy. So I saw a question. I saw a post about the PS6 and Xbox console. They predicted that 2027, 20s yet to release them. Chris, do you think it's reliable? I believe it's closer to the truth. And the reason being is because there is a lot of problems with acquiring the RAM. I tried to, if you guys don't know, I did attempt to try to go to SK Hynix. I tried to go and hijack their meeting, but that didn't go so well. They just blocked me at the door and said, this is appointment only. But I should have just really said like, hey, I was supposed to be at the meeting at 11 or something, or said something to make it up in order to just get in to ask all the right questions. But I can certainly say they didn't want to hear the questions. But you can certainly expect that this delay is going to go on until 2028 at the minimum. Thank you for subscribing.
Subscribe to the channel.
Certainly appreciate it. I tried that too. Oh, really? Oh, you tried that and they didn't let you into it? That's funny. I mean, it's still on another level. I guess the price is what you have to pay to get one of the top tier colors, even though they're not game changing. Yes, yeah, it's not going to be game changing. And that's the point I want to put to you, Simon, because especially you got a wonderful display. You're certainly going to enjoy it. For you, a game changing monitor probably won't happen till like another 3 or 4 years, to be honest. Like to really see a big difference on your display. I mean, I'm like technically I have a PG34 WCDM, and this came out 2 years ago, and I'm still perfectly happy with it. So, and even though that they did have newer displays, it wasn't to the point where like, man, I have to get this display. It's so much better. It's more or so like a incremental upgrade, and it's going to add up to like incremental upgrades over time till it gets to the point where you start to see a large difference compared to your original display. So, let me see. I mean, it's on another level. So, which question? Are you intending it to me, Miami, or Indiana? Like, as in where I'm at is Miami. So I had booked an appointment, but it wasn't accepted. Oh, really? And they said they didn't let you in, and you had the appointment. Really? Who didn't accept it? Was it their marketing guys that were there? Did they say no? I would love to know the reason. I want to go to NEC. You could go for it. It's like SEMA, but the UK has. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? The PG32. It's just an amazing monitor. It's just the colors are just magnificent, and it works great when it comes to its color. When it comes time to like pixel cleaning and everything, it's timely. It's one of the best UIs really ASUS came with, like compared to a lot of monitors out there. So, speaking of flying cars, if you like flying cars, since Squeeze brought it up, they are saying that Miami's supposed to be the first city to have flying cars by 2028. But the way people drive here, no, I can't see that happening. The PC one is near my birthday. Oh yeah, that's pretty dope. So let's take a look. I just want to give you guys an idea of how the RAM situation is looking. It's only going to be good for people who are looking to build a fresh build, because then it's just going to be crazy expensive. Nobody's going to want to build with these pricing the way it is. If you take a look at an AMD bundle, you can actually get a decent build. Now, these are cheap. Of course, these are obviously cheap here, the 350. I'll take down the poll, guys, so it seems like the poll's already done. And I'll throw up another one in a bit for you guys too. So, let me see. Let me turn that off for you guys. So, they do have the $350 bundle. Now, it comes with a 7600X. It has a B650, all decent components. But obviously it only comes one stick of RAM. I always prefer to get dual sticks. Not only does it run better because it's running on a dual RAM, but it can also, if one RAM stick does end up failing for some weird reason, then at least you'll be able to run on one. If that does end up failing on you, even though it runs fine, then you have no RAM to really play on your PC with. So let's see. I went from the 75 hertz monitor AOC to ASUS. Man, that wasn't that quite the jump. I gotta say, like, just that immediate jump when you see refresh rates like 75 hertz, and you go automatically over to something like the ROG Tough 27. You're roughly like around that's like 240 hertz about, right? If I'm not mistaken. That's also 240, I believe. Does that also, because I know some of the tough monitors that they do have, they also do have dual monitor inputs. So you can run it at, say, 330 hertz at 1080, and then at 2K, you can run it at a lower hertz, which is probably around closer to like 180 typically. Did you get one of those monitors out of curiosity? Now, my ASUS ROG has 165 hertz. That's enough. It gives me 200 frames. I mean, yeah. It's going to be great for a lot of people. It's crazy because 165 hertz is like standard now when it comes to TVs or displays now. When it comes to, like, if you took a look at the Samsung display I had on my channel that I showed on the video, standard, it's at 165 hertz. So you can easily run a PC games and PC titles on there. There's no way a console is going to be able to do it. It'll upscale onto that TV, obviously, but it's not going to push it natively if that's what you are looking for. So my monitor is 24 inches. I mean, monitors honestly don't have to be that huge. Some people end up getting larger monitors, but it's going to be like directly in your face. So if you're thinking of doing a PC build, you don't have to get like a large 42-inch monitor. You can get it, it'll be nice, but it's not necessary. A lot of people would certainly be happy even with 27 inches, and they realize that's enough real estate for them when they are gaming or for whatever task they need it for. Or maybe you want to run a dual or even a triple monitor setup. So if you want to give yourself those type of options, really be particular about picking out the type of monitor you want and what type of refresh rate you're looking for, or what type of multitask abilities that you are also looking for. If you're planning to run a dual monitor display, you don't need both at 240 hertz. You might prefer one to be just like, say, a Discord screen, like where you can just watch your Discord, and that can be running at 60 hertz, just for an example. Or if you plan on doing like a simulator, like you plan on doing something like that, like a flight simulator, then that's when you want to look for a higher refresh rate monitor. So yeah, I got it early, a 2025 March. So if it does flicker, well, the good thing is, like, the newer OLEDs, they don't flicker as much. They do have anti-flicker technology in there. There's been times where I have seen the monitor flicker, but you can easily turn on the anti-flicker and that immediately cancels it out. So I live in Europe. We are behind USA in terms of quality of monitors. Best we have is 400 or 500 hertz. At the moment, I heard that there's 700. Yes. They're even pushing up to 1,000. It's insane that they're going up to just slightly past 1,000 hertz when it comes to displays right now. If anyone is looking for a super fast display, but in order to enjoy it, you got to be a true competitive gamer and have the title that you do want to run 1,000 hertz. If you are a Counter-Strike 2 player, that is exactly what you're looking for, because you could easily hit 1,000 hertz. Or 1,000 frames on Counter-Strike and be able to enjoy that experience. So Windows 11 Cat Max. Yeah. Can you imagine having 1000 hertz? That would be insane. So if anyone's looking for a PC build, where if you're just trying to get RAM, the smart way of doing it is don't just buy the RAM. And the reason why I say that is if you just buy the RAM, that's all you're going to gain out of it, right? You're only going to get 2 RAM. You'll just get, say you get 32 gigabytes, right? It's like around roughly about $390, $400 for it. So why just get the RAM when you can actually get the full kit for $550? Because if something does go bad, not that you intended to, or maybe you just want to build another PC, maybe for your friend or maybe for your family, you do have an extra motherboard and CPU. Now, if something does happen, you can easily do a change with your motherboard if you need to, or maybe you have to RMA your motherboard and be able to have that lapse time period to have something to play on, and that would be perfect to have. So again, you're only spending an extra $150 to get a motherboard and processor with some RAM. So it's kind of like insurance. This is the smarter way to buy, because then you don't want to end up SOL to the point when you're like, you have to actually get a motherboard and a processor, and then you never know how pricing is going to be, because again, power supply pricing and CPU cooler pricing is also going up in price as well. So you want to make sure to kind of really have a decent balance. I mean, getting like a 7700X as a backup isn't bad, especially if you want to game on your PC. So Igor says, I think it's bundles. We have better. I think bundles is better. We have bundle options here where kits are used. I'm sorry, Igor. I'm trying to clear it up. But yes, it's better to get a bundle if that is what you're asking. Definitely better to get like a bundle like this, like a processor, motherboard, and RAM if you are to purchase RAM. Because again, it's just going to get ridiculous. Like here's a perfect example. We've explored this option here. Why you need a new PSU. Well, you don't have to get a PSU, but it's just an example of it. It's much more expensive if you just buy, yes. And that's the problem. If you just buy part by part, it's going to be expensive. So Slim Shady says, I went from a PS5 Pro to a 5090 with a 9800X 3D on a 77-inch LG G5. Awesome. That's an awesome display, by the way. Completely game-changing. Keep the PS5 as backup. That's a good point. You can always do something like that. Sorry, I expressed bad. I need to type. No, take your time. I mean, just enjoy the stream. As you're thinking. So for the 9970X bundle kit, this is what I wanted to bring up. This is actually a decent bundle. And the reason why I say that is take a look at the RAM kits. So some of you guys might be familiar with this bundle. I've been trying to go at it for a while now, and it's been really tough because as you can see, they offer a $4,000 kit, and this is for a TRX 50 bundle. This is not going to be obviously for everyone. But if someone was to build a kit like this, it gives you 128 gigabytes of RAM, and it gives you ECC, which is error correcting memory, which is better for things like workstations because you need to have less errors. Not going to affect on the gaming side, but the important thing is it's also CL28, and it's not your typical CL36 that they are trying to get rid of. So to be honest, when I play competitive, 280 hertz more than for me. I feel like 120. Oh, I see. Yeah, I agree. It just depends on how competitive you are and how much hours you really spend on the game. Because I'm sure you guys felt it before. You get on Battlefield 6 and you're like, how long have you been playing this game? So top 3 entertainment, which Jerry says, normally I tell people to just save the money then they want to spend on a budget for their PC. But if you find a good price on the parts or bundles, it might be worth it to snag it then. Absolutely, great point. It makes sense to get what you can. If you have the budget for it, if you have the money to be able to get the bundle, take full advantage of it because that's how you get the better deal. Now, of course, I always suggest getting part by part, but as high the volatility goes, I have to change my tune a little bit. Now, typically I say go ahead and get the GPU first. I recommended this back in December, reason being because I saw that this whole 5080 fiasco was going to happen. Same thing with the 5090. If you need it, go ahead and get it. And what did people do? They said, it's not going to be that bad. I've seen plenty of 5090s at my store. I've seen plenty of 5080s at my store. But look what happened now. Now look who's laughing. Now everyone who's been worried about trying to get a 5080 or a 5090, now they're sweating about trying to even attain one. If you are lucky to get one, you can find one on Amazon. I'll show you in a bit. You can find a 5090 on Amazon, but not for that price tag you were originally intending for. So Eager says, wow, this is a great deal. 128 gigabytes of RAM. Exactly. That's what I mean. And this is what you have to really, truly catch. It sounds like a terrible deal. It really does. It sounds terrible. But you are getting a Threadripper CPU. And that Threadripper PCU alone, that's like close to like about, that's like roughly about $1,800 to $2,000. And that motherboard there, that's $1,000 easy. So that's right then and there, that's like $3,000. And then for the RAM itself, they're charging about like $1,000 with the kit. But if you look at it without the kit, actually it's even more. I believe the Threadripper is more on this kit, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look. We'll click it right now. So yeah, it also depends on the game. 60 hertz on Valorant feels like 120. Yeah, it's funny, right? Like, it's funny how some games are developed. It's 2,500. I'm sorry, 2,500 for this processor, and then you go back and you take a look at the motherboard, right? The motherboard's 1,000, so that's 3,500. That's 3,500 alone just for those two components. So technically, you're only spending like $919. So technically, that means you're only spending roughly about $600 on RAM. That's 128 gigabytes with low latency. So again, this is like kind of the hack you can find when it comes to purchasing hardware cheaper, as long as if you buy a bundle. Now, this is just a high-priced example of it, but you can imagine if you just bought this RAM kit alone, it's going to be more expensive. The RAM kit itself is $2,000. You see? Now you see how much of a difference that is. You literally took nearly off, 60% off the price when you get the bundle. So it just makes more sense to get a bundle in that sense. And it goes the same exact way when it comes to your regular AMD bundles or Intel bundles. So this is what I've been stressing about. Like, if you go ahead and get a bundle, say we take a look at a more fair price bundle for gamers out there, like that's $550. Again, typically that RAM itself is going to cost $400. Where, say at the lowest point, say the cheapest I've seen it was maybe $380. And let's say if it is, so you're spending an extra $170 to get a processor and a motherboard. So honestly, it's really a great deal. So Micro Center has done a phenomenal job. If you are near one, that is one to take advantage of. So King Claw says, I have a 4. Yes, he does. And he overclocked. So get NVIDIA GPUs near release, because that's when they will be at their cheapest. I agree. AMD GPUs after release go down in price. That is true, because as we've seen, we can get 9070 XTs as low as $600. Specifically, the ASRock RX 9070 XT has a great deal, great GPU, and actually one of the most silent GPUs out there. So Igor says PSU used to be 100, 150. Now they average around 150 to 250, 850 to 1000 watts modular. And it's crazy. They're actually coming out with semi-modular once again. And if you guys aren't familiar with semi-modular power supplies, they practically are modular, but they have some pretty much built in. Like, for example, your ATX cable will be built into the power supply. You can't remove it like your other cables. But the other parts of the ATX power supply will be removable. But they are certainly making a comeback with that to kind of save on cost. So Cool Screen says, ASRock Phantom Gaming Nova and Vengeance 64GB 6000 CL30 on the way from combo. what's your thoughts on the PSU, the Ace ROG? Actually, I can vouch for this. Now, a lot of people do give shit to Ace ROG, and for good reason, because we all know about their whole 9800X 3D fiasco. We know about their issues. We know that it's going to burn out the CPU for some crazy reason, even though they say it's a firmware update when it didn't fix it in the first place. But the point is, we're not talking specifically on the motherboard side. But I can say, when it comes to their PSU, they have done a phenomenal job. Because the reason being I say that is because before, when somebody actually installed their PSU into a RTX 5090, the PSU didn't even burn out. In fact, the only thing that burned out, like when it came to their 12-volt high power port, it didn't even burn the GPU itself. It didn't even burn the power supply, just the one connector. So it was made well enough to where the PSU actually withstood that high voltage without burning the GPU or PSU. So I can say their PSUs are decent. So Simon says, from your perspective and experience, any pro tips for a new OLED, and how often do pixel cleaning? So when it comes to pixel cleaning, the good thing is because you have this new tandem new tandem OLED, they do have the automatic pixel remapping. It has an adaptive display, and it also tracks you when you're in front of the monitor. So it knows when you're sitting in front of it and when you're not. So as soon as you walk away, say you walk away 5 minutes, during that 5 minutes, Waffle Skater, what's going on? Good to see you in here. So, I'll answer that question in a bit. Yeah, semi-modular. Sorry. But to answer your question, the best thing to do is just do the pixel cleaning every once in a while, as frequent as you can. But the good thing is when you walk away from your tandem OLED, it will actually do the pixel cleaning itself and the pixel remapping. Don't panic if it seems like the screen's off, and you can't turn it on. Typically, you'll see the ASUS logo. You'll see it blink. And when it's blinking, that means it's doing the pixel remapping then. And as soon as it's done, you'll see your monitor restart and it'll be good to go. So don't panic, especially that OLEDs have improved so much since like the first generation. Especially they got built-in heat sinks, they got pixel remapping, they got pixel cleaning, they got sensor proximities. They have so much features in there to really prevent any type of burn-in, which is rightfully so. Many people do certainly worry about. So ASMEX says, hey Chris, hey chat, I'm willing to buy an M.2 for my first build. What do you recommend, Samsung or Crucial? Honestly, okay, so what are you using it for? What is going to be the use for that M.2? Now Crucial and Samsung, they both make phenomenal drives. They are both great. Are you going to be using it for things like production? Will you be constantly doing things like transfers? Because you could save a little bit of money if you don't do those type of things. Like if you're using it for gaming, I usually recommend just even a Samsung 990 is decent. Of course, Crucial does really good with their T700 if you want to go like with a PCI Express 5, but don't spend extra money like for a T710. We could take a look at that as well. I have a ASRock B650E Tai Chi. It's amazing. Yes, like I said, they get so much crap, but honestly, we love to joke around, as you know, in the PC community. When something goes haywire or something burns up, it's going to get out of control. And that, unfortunately, was the sad situation for ASRock. That was the reason why they weren't on the main floor. They actually had... At CES, they had their own private suite for certain people to go because they were afraid to hear that type of BS from people if that was going to happen. Which that brings me to a new question here. Would you be willing to have a ASRock motherboard? So that is going to be the question. And maybe I should specify. Maybe I should say AM5, right? Have a AM5. Because that's the only one that really appeared to have an issue. So you can feel free to vote. You can put 1 or 2 to answer. So Waffle Skater says, did you have a normal PS5? Did you notice the difference? That's a good question. So I'm using it both for business and gaming. So if you are using it for both, Okay, so there's two I can recommend. Now they do have, I will show you right now, Crucial T710. Great, great drive if you are planning to use it for that. Now again, 200. This one you can get for $250. It's 2 TB and it is extremely fast. So far we have, so far we got no. Sure, if it doesn't have the idea 3D chipset. I'm thinking of taking your PSU and adding your Phantom Nova gaming motherboard. Did Crucial also drop? Yes, unfortunately they did. They're not in the SSD game anymore because they are helping the consumer. They are helping us because they have to help big AI in order to build their infrastructure. Because if they don't, we will be affected as consumers. that was literally their excuse. That's what Crucial said. They said that they're helping us out because they're not in the market anymore. So you can get the 710. But to mind you, Crucial is not existent anymore. So if this does end up going bad, there's only going to be so many of them left. So if it does go bad, you send it into Crucial. They can give you a new one, but it's going to be technically like off of their old bin. They're not going to recreate anymore. And then you have the Samsung 9100 Pro, which is also an awesome SSD you can get. Now this is more fairly priced, I'd say. Oh, wow. Where is it? Now, don't mind the pricing because it's 1 TB, then it jumps automatically over to 8 TB. Hopefully you guys saw that, but yeah, it kind of quickly jumped over there. It depends. After all, I mean, if I find a ASRock motherboard on a good sale, why not? There you go. Some people are willing to take the risk. So, I mean, they did literally increase the warranty in Japan like another year. Because typically ASRock has like a 3-year warranty. So they pushed it for another year for 4-year warranty. Just in case if situations like that did happen again. So the Samsung 9100 Pro, a 1 TB. Again, it's pretty high. I feel like the Crucial would definitely be the better deal if you have a Micro Center near you. Let's take a look at Newegg just to see if they have it in stock. We'll take a look at, are you looking for up to 4 TB or are you looking for like 2 TB? Because that also makes a difference when it comes to their drives. So I'm assuming just say like the typical 2 TB, I'll just put it in and then you can let me know and we can compare the two. But Samsung 9100 2 TB drive, we will look for. Yeah, 4 TB is solid. It's definitely the more secure one to get compared to 2. 2 fills up really quick, especially now. It's, you know what's crazy? I feel like 2 TB have been around forever. It's like we really need to push up in storage. It's like we are really limiting ourselves because of it. Now here goes the 2 TB. Wow, that's expensive. Evo Micro, yeah, that's not Newegg. So if you see prices like that, that's definitely not Newegg. So make sure, I tell everyone, if you go on Newegg to look for pricing here, make sure to check sold by Newegg because you got a lot of these third-party sellers and they're all over the place. Doesn't matter if you're on Newegg, whether you're on Walmart, Amazon, make sure to purchase it directly from the retailer. So I would just go AM4 for now. I understand the best-selling CPUs on Amazon. Appreciate it, Adam. Cool screen. Buy CSON. Yes. I really want that. It just sucks that they ended up delaying their Noctua power supply. I did try to reach out to them and try to get in contact, see if there's any way we can get one. It would be pretty amazing if we somehow can talk them into it. So Simon says, I'm happy with my PC. It's not high end, but definitely I'm telling you, it's going to be high end for most people now because just think about the pricing. Samsung's 4 TB heatsink. They have in stock $600. Now they do have, this is the 990. What? Okay. So if you see this much of a difference in pricing, you see the Samsung 990, that is a PCI Express 4 NVMe M.2. And you're comparing it to an M.2 that's PCI Express 5, and it's literally double the speed for $50 more. So obviously this would be the one to get. And it's been funny too, because I've been trying to get in touch with Western Digital, with, SanDisk now, which they changed their name of their drives over to SanDisk Optimal. and I tried to get in touch with them and asked them a couple times about a M.2 drive, and man, they've been like really. Usually they're quick. They're very respondent. They're very cool people, and man, it's been hard. I gotta say, it's been really hard. Awful Skater says at this point, get a PS5 and use that for a few years. The PC market is now atrocious. Yeah, it's a bit risky to buy from third. Yes. Again, you don't want to come to a box of bricks inside of your GPU. That would just suck. Just imagine you managed to get a RTX 5080 for $1,000. You got it for a great deal. I don't know if you guys heard this story. I will look it up, but it's happened recently. So, okay, why is everyone getting those Cube LCD? It's been hot. It's been a really hot item there. You're talking about the TYRX, right? You're talking about the panoramic. I'll show you. The TYRX CPU coolers. They've been going crazy right now. A lot of people have been going for them. Let me see. Oh, they don't have any in stock here. Micro Center might have it. TYRX CPU cooler. You'll see what it is. It's one of these, the panoramic displays. These are really popular. ASUS has their own version of it too. But it's on their ROG, what's it? The ROG Radeon 4. The Radeon 4 also has something like this. So you can see it's a full panoramic display. It kind of gives you that look like similar to if you ever seen it in Tokyo or you've seen it in like a larger cities where it has that large display where it's like 3D looking. And that's what it is, but just like a mini version for your CPU. So I guess a lot of people like that effect and they go for this because it gives it that almost 3D look. So they've been popular. It's $280. A lot of people do love it. So Crispy, I'm already getting a Phantom Nova gaming motherboard combined with the Vengeance 64 gigabyte 6000 CL30 RAM. Is it good? Yeah, it's excellent RAM. You literally got one of the best RAM kits that are out there. As you know, or if you don't know, CL30 is like more or so the standard when it comes to AM5. Same thing with Intel. If you have an Intel processor, that's pretty much the standard for it too. So, oh, nice correction, Steve. 64 gigabytes, yeah, not 64. Can you imagine 64 gigabits? 64 gigabits of memory. Imagine if they did sell it like for $1,000 and on unsuspecting buyers, and they put 64 bits, and people actually want to go buy it. Imagine how pissed they would be if they actually saw 64 gigabits. It wouldn't even run, I think. But unless they send me a gold brick, yeah, you might be good with that. So Cool Screen says top notch, all green and quality, but Noctua instead of ASRock TC1650T. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a great power supply. You definitely won't regret something like that. Please get, yeah, okay, I got you, bro. I got you. The Radeon 4, I'll show you that real quick too. I know you big fans of Armory Crater out there, and I keep misspelling it. I'm sure they got it in stock. Let's see. No, they don't. Oh, wow. I thought it was out already. Radeon 4. I'm sure it's out, right? Maybe Micro Center just doesn't have it in stock. But it looks like this. There it is. So if anyone likes that panoramic looking display, they also have it for ASUS. Let me take off the poll real quick, guys, because I just realized that was still up and running there. There we go. So I think I will need to spend some time on monitor settings when it comes with colors. I'm pretty sure that cinema mode, FPS mode, ET, etc. is not getting enough. Yet, I mean, you could color calibrate it if you like. But I can tell you, like, when it comes to their top monitors, they've done a phenomenal job when it comes to, like, the color correction and the color accuracy. You'll be impressed. You'll be super impressed once you have it all set up. Laugh out loud. But this is it right here. So if you like this, if you want that, like, 3D type of billboard look, this... let's look up 64. You know where we can find... Cool Screen, you can look at cybernetics hardware. Oh, really? Oh, cool. I gotta say, We will see. I am waiting for Nova Lake. I don't blame you. Nova Lake is going to be exciting. I think that's going to be a change for everybody. I really think Intel is stepping it up. They were the only ones that actually had like a decent show. They actually had decent keynotes. They were worth watching compared to everyone else. It really, I gotta tell you, it was brutal sitting through AMD's keynote for 3 hours, and it was nothing but AI. And once you heard the sparkle, it was like an hour and a half into the keynote. You heard the sparkle of them speaking about gaming, and you're like, okay, this is when they're going to show the 9850X 3D slide. It never came. They completely skipped over it, and they went into a whole different spiel on creating AI out of practically nothing again, which was like that's when they went into the whole factor of like taking pictures of the AMD studio or AMD factory, and it kind of recreated what it would look like in Egyptian mode or whatever. But I don't think any gamers out there are looking forward to something like that. Taking a picture of like, say, their house and making it look into something completely different. I mean, technically we could already do that. So I must say this AIO is not bad with the tubes coming. There is something I'm really excited to share with you guys. I just got to find it out of all the videos that I ended up taking. It's like a modular AIO. So it's almost like you can have an AIO, but it's modular, where you can actually have a cooler for your CPU, and you can also have a cooler for your GPU, and it all runs into its own loop. And you don't even it doesn't even require a pump, which is amazing. In fact, it runs off of the pump on the CPU. So no matter what, you don't have to worry about like your typical custom water loop. You can actually work with like an AIO like build, but at a much faster rate, where you know for sure it has less likelihood of leaking. I really love the idea that they came out with, and I can't wait to share it with you guys for sure. It's I can't think of the name of the company, but they're also aligned with Haven, and they're also aligned with Ducky, the keyboard company. They're all together as like one group, but it's quite amazing, and I can't wait to share that video with you guys. Oh, Linux. I gotta, you know what? That's a great poll for everyone out there. If anyone out there is willing to switch to Linux and is completely tired of Windows BS, I am curious, because it is coming up in popularity. That was even brought up in CES. Like, they were asking different companies, like, hey, like, does this come with Linux? Does it have to come with Windows? So it is coming up in popularity, it seems. And this might be the year where Linux ends up taking it, especially on the gamer side. It would just be nicer if they found a way for games like Battlefield 6 to have a bit more compatibility into something like Linux. So, would you switch over to Linux? And here is the poll about to come up, guys. So, would you switch over to Linux? You can put 1 for yes and 2 for no. Would you switch over to Linux? Not interested in any of the refreshes. That is also the 9850X 3D. And yeah, that's what I wanted to bring out to you guys to mention. That was part of the title of this stream. And the 9850X 3D is expected to come out around, I think it's January 29th. January 29th is supposed to be like the drop date for it. There is no pricing for it, but I can speculate the price for you guys. I can certainly say it's going to sit next to the 9800X X3D. So the 9800X3D, I predicted to stay around that $400 price range, and I think the 9850X3D will end up going to where the 9800X3D originally was, which was at that $479 price mark. So if you are looking to get like a 9850X3D, I do think it's going to be around that pricing. But for anyone that's looking for the 9950X3D too, more than likely that's not going to end up coming out anytime soon. Well, it is in a way, but just not this month. You probably won't see that till like March maybe, or April even. So I barely understand Windows. Hell no. Hell no. Two. That's funny. I can bear. Linux can be quite the hassle for some people. Some people are willing to take the time to learn it. I know it can be quite frustrating to learn a whole new system. It certainly has gotten a lot better throughout the years, especially that they do have a lot more friendlier versions of Linux. There's a lot of distros that you can use. You can go from Mint. Ubuntu is like one of my like really favorite ones, I think. Out of all of them, you have Fedora. You have quite a bit, but I think if people ended up messing with Linux a bit more, I don't think it's nearly as frustrating as it was. I would say probably like about a good 15, 20 years ago, because you would have to really, truly manually type everything open. So I heard AMD Linux is crazy good. It's true. It is. Actually, with the Baslite, I did a Baslite PC build, and it ran excellent. I built it. It was last year. Originally, I installed Windows on it, and then I was like, what the hell? Might as well remove it and just swap it out for Baslite, and that's what happened. Swapped it out for Baslite, a more gaming-friendly type of OS. I think a lot of people would love it. It's practically like, think of it like almost like having a game console. That's what it would feel like, but on a PC style. Now, you do have a desktop mode and everything. You can get to desktop mode, but there are some factors that some PC users out there may not enjoy. So I'm a moron. I easily get frustrated with my ADHD. Learning new things can be, I get it. It can be frustrating at times too. So far we got a good mix. We got 50% that says yes. We got 50% that says no. I do certainly get the idea why many people out there would feel the way that they do. Windows is simple. You kind of understand the way it goes. Windows 11 is quite the complicated mess. What's up? Oh, welcome back, Jerry. So, yeah, I gotta say, when it comes to Windows 11, it's just not really you know how you can say things are like a beautiful mess? That's not Windows 11 at all. It's just straight up it's just straight up hideous. It's not great. I just don't understand anyone giving a game kernel access. Yeah, well, that goes for quite a few. I mean, you know what helps Linux right now, especially when it comes to the gaming side, is the whole Proton. Because thanks to Proton, that really helped a lot of playability when it comes to games, especially from Steam. But now, of course, the problem is, it's just like games like Battlefield 6, or say you're a Call of Duty player, like you want to play Black Ops 7, you're not going to be able to enjoy that experience, unfortunately, on Linux. Now, some people out there might be willing to dual boot and be able to go both ways. As you'll notice, Linux is quite quick, and there's a reason for it. And it's super responsive. So if you tell Linux to say like, hey, like I want to start this up, it will start it up. It's not like Windows where if you click on it, it might start up. And if it doesn't, you can open up the trusty task manager to close it for you, because the remnant is running where it just somehow ended up freezing up the application, and you'll end up closing it out and reopening it, compared to Linux where it will open it up with no problem, and it will shut down no matter if you have 100 tabs open, it will shut down. It does not care. It does not give anything. It will shut down. So, but speaking of which, when we go into the hardware side, guys, I highly recommend to get like a kit if you are looking to do more of a build. Another thing I want to throw out there is that NVIDIA is slowing down when it comes to creating more RTX 5070s and RTX 5070 Ti's. And the reason being is because they are worried about the memory allocation. So Simon says, I mean, Windows 11 made it harder to fix anything than on Windows 10. So yeah, I would definitely try out Linux, especially with AMD. Yeah, give it a shot. You might be impressed with it. It's evolved quite a bit over the time, because the good thing about Linux too is it's not no more longer just relying on the terminal, because that's how Linux always was. You would always have to go to the terminal for everything that you practically do. Even opening programs, you would have to go to the terminal to open it up. Now it's become a bit more refined where you're able to actually open up your applications, or you open up your software through Linux, and it even has a store on Linux now to where you can download your applications to make it a bit easier. Even updating is a breeze. It's like it's right through the settings. But it certainly improved a lot Of course, there's always going to be some pains to go through, such as making a game run properly. For example, a game like Elden Ring, I'm sorry, Elden Ring. Like a game like Elden Ring, it also uses anti-cheat, but you can make it run on something like Linux. The only thing is, if you do make it run on Linux, you have to go through certain processes in order for it to run properly. Like you have to learn about like putting in certain commands into having it run prior to opening the file, because if you don't have those commands run prior to opening the file, then it would automatically like shut down maybe in 2 minutes. So it's like little things like that may annoy people, but it is a great system, a great OS to certainly try. So NHD 15G2. Oh really? Oh, that sucks, Kyrian. That's one of the things I am looking forward to. Worried, sure, they're worried about that in their pockets. It's more like, yeah, I know, right? NVIDIA is more worried about building their 5090s, and it's going to be priced up at. Let's take a look. Actually, let's have some fun and take a look at some. Well, I like to say let's have fun, but we all know the truth behind this. RTX 5090s, and this is at Micro Center, so you'll expect like more fair pricing. And we'll check Newegg with their third-party sellers, and you can see how much they're trying to bring it up. And like for example, it should be rated at 3350, right, for the Astral, for the RTX 5090 at average. Unfortunately, it's all sold out. Miami location originally had over 20 of these cards, and now they're just gone. They had plenty in December. I can tell you before Christmas, they had over 20 in stock. Like literally like days before Christmas, they had plenty. But unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where they completely sold out. But luckily, they do have one in stock. It could be an error. Micro Center does sometimes have errors like where they say something is in stock, but it's not. Is the MSI NVIDIA RTX 5090 Supra, where it's like the AIO of its GPU. They do have that in stock. But if you take a look at a place like Newegg, right? Let's take a look at Newegg and we look at a pricing and say we look at a RTX 5090. Now this is going to include third-party sellers, and you're going to see how much that they are trying to sell it for. Now, take a look at that. You see how ugly it's gotten. It's gotten really bad to the point to where they're just selling at such incredible high rate. I'll take that poll down too. So we got a mix of everybody out there that wants to go with Linux. Some people don't want to go Linux. I get it. Maybe I should have asked it more properly like this. Would you go to Windows would you go to Linux if it went completely AI? Like they changed it to Windows Copilot. Can you imagine that? That would be terrible. So I'm going. Thanks for your... Yeah, no problem, Simon. Thank you for coming in. They're building 59... I know, right? Apparently, they're going to charge $4,000 to $5,000 for their 5090s when they get done. They are expecting quite the price increase. The volatility is going to continue to increase. Eventually, it'll leak into the point of the 5070s and 5070 Ti's, and that's why I certainly stress on anybody out there that is looking for a GPU to certainly try to get one. Like the NVIDIA's Founders Edition, obviously they don't simply just sell it on Newegg. It's obviously going to come from a third-party seller. Now you check this out. It's sold by GH Electronics. GH Electronics certainly has it on sale. And as you see, he got 4.5 stars. If you want to take the risk, you go with the third-party seller. Be my guest, but I certainly wouldn't. NVIDIA takes a look at it, is getting them back. Just getting the 96 gigabyte VRAM workstation. Yeah, pretty much at that point. Price is more cost. I know. Absolutely. You're getting 96 gigabytes of VRAM if that's the case. Let's see if they do have it in stock. I'm curious. Let's look it up. Let's look up the RTX 6000, see if they do have it in stock. Let's see. They do. No, but it's still $8,239. So if you guys aren't familiar with this, this is a workstation GPU. This is not for gaming at all. I mean, you can game on it technically. It'll give you the power practically like a 5090, but it's not going to act any stronger. Now, of course, you see the CUDA cores, it's quite crazy, up to 24,000. Now the max power consumption is up to 600 watts. So this is the next start price. Oh man, no kidding, King. I can see that. I can see that happen. Especially because if you guys don't know, when it comes to these new GPUs that NVIDIA is planning, apparently, as you know, they have G7. What they have in these GPUs that they feature all G7. So with their new GPUs that they might feature is not only, I think what they will do is have two sides of it. They'll have a gamer side, and of course they're going to have like an AI side. For example, they'll come out with, say, a 6090. We'll use that as their flagship card, right? So say they have a 6090, has 48 gigabytes of G7. More than likely that would be like targeted for more of the consumer crowd. It's still going to be very expensive. It's going to be more than $2,000 for sure. It'll probably average at like $2,500, they'll say, but you know for sure once the brands certainly get it, it's going to go up in price because they have to build their custom fan shrouds for it. So anyway, they'll sell that like for closer to $35,000 to $4,000 on average, and then that won't technically be like the true flagship card. And you know what the true flagship card would be? The true flagship card would be a 6090 with HBMs. So instead of having G7, 48 gigabytes of G7, it'll have more or so, pretty much like up to like, say, I don't know, we'll just use that same number, 96 gigabytes of HBM. And if they had something like that, that would be a lot closer to this price than for that flagship card. So if they do decide to go through with something like that, expect a phenomenal increase in pricing, because HBM is much more faster, of course, but it wouldn't make sense truly for them to build it on a gamer's perspective. Hence why they would probably come out with a name like RTX 6090 AI edition. That's what they would probably call it, like an AI RTX 6090, and then they would sell it for like practically this price that we are currently looking at, because again, that would be the HBM for it. Now when it comes to its like standard series, like when it comes to 6070s, 6080s, expect that to also go up in pricing, because that's just going to follow behind, because AMD is going to practically say, oh, this is going to be the standard for GPUs. So it seems Kirian has a question. Support for you know, the funny thing is, when I saw that, I was like, I'm not even going to film this. I should have, because it would certainly probably grabbed a lot of attention when it came to MSI's display. That is certainly a very questionable display. I feel like that was a bad idea. It's so crazy that if you can flash somebody, right? Like if you're gaming and you flashbang somebody like in Battlefield 6, it will literally last a second less than compared to somebody with a standard monitor without the built-in AI tech. So can you imagine getting ahead? And you can already imagine the type of people that are going to purchase it. It's definitely going to be those professional Twitch players, so to say, that are going to get those monitors, because they're going to end up trying to be the top, as it also has like built-in aim assist as well, which is insane. And it should not be legal at all, that monitor, like for gaming wise. It makes no sense. I think it's a very interesting idea for MSI to come up with, but I don't think it should truly be a standard when it comes to the gaming side. It just brings it's going to sell very well, I can tell you that. And the reason why is you're going to have people saying, oh, they're the top gamers and they're using that MSI monitor. So is it tweaking pixels through color? Yes. So that's what it does. It ends up like tweaking through. It has like pretty much like they call it AI for their monitor to be able to tweak those pixels to make it seem like that at that moment it's like predictability. It predicts that that person is going to move that way, and that's how it would work. Same thing with the flashbangs. It would predict the movement of that person. So I can sort of imagine, yes. It works. His dark magic shifting. Exactly. Oh man. And the thing is, I feel like it's going to end up selling. I know it is, because there is going to be a market for people wanting to buy something like that. But I don't agree with it. On the MSI note though, on the CS, I do gotta say the MSI Lightning was dope. I feel that they had a great GPU. Definitely one of my favorites out of all the CS, like out of all the GPUs that they certainly showed for the 5090s. And it does have two 12-volt high power ports, so you can really push it to 1,000 watts, and the GPU wouldn't really truly be affected in that sense. But I feel the MSI Lightning was a great one. Of course, Gigabyte had their version, which was the Infinity. I'm curious to see how that's going to be, the RTX 5090. And also, ASUS also came out with their version of RTX 5090, but theirs is going to be more or so for the creator's design. For those who are interested in creating, for those who are looking for a bit more sleekness, somebody that's looking for, like, say, less RGBs, more professional looking, that would be definitely the ASUS RTX 5090 Pro. I mean, not Pro, RTX 5090 Pro Art, I should say. So is NVIDIA still sending out emails for people? You know, the crazy thing is, Filet, there is one thing I certainly do regret. They were sending out emails. The last one I received from NVIDIA was probably September. Maybe September, October, around then. I do regret for not going after the 5090 when I had the absolute possibility to. I don't think they're doing it anymore though, because NVIDIA has already mentioned that they are going to slow down production on specifically the 16 gigabyte cards. So that's going to be on the 5070 Ti's and the 5080s and the 5060 Ti's. So they want to slow down that production. And they said they want to focus more on a higher tier card like the RTX 5090. But obviously, if they come out with the RTX 5090s, they are planning to go up in price by a whole lot. It's not going to come out like as $3 or even $3,300 like as you typically see it. They're pushing it to $4,000 to $5,000 when they come out with these their new cards. Now, that's one of the biggest problems we face when it comes to the PC building community, especially for those who are looking to build on a high-end spectrum PC such as that. Even like an RTX 5080, it's still pretty expensive. I mean, you take a look at it, this is not the average price for a 5080. And with the 5080, the average price is now between $1,400, $1,500, even $1,900, which is insane. That's a lot of money right now for a 5080. That's nearly as much as a RTX 5090 if it was a Founders Edition. So Jackson says, guys, one question I saw have on a i9 13900K with 32 gigabytes of 6400 megahertz CL32 and an RX 7900 XTX. Should I go for AM5? Honestly, at the time right now, I think you are good where you're at. I'm assuming you have the crucial 32 gigabytes, right? The crucial 32 gigabytes, 6400 megahertz, and you have the 13900K. Honestly, you're pretty good where you're at. You can last quite a few years. Like, wait till like 29. I think that's when things should technically like calm down quite a bit. It should not be as volatile, nowhere near as volatile, and things should be like pretty much corrected since then. And yeah, no problem, Jackson. So Fele says 13900K is plenty. Yes, absolutely, I agree. Next gen will certainly be an upgrade. There's always going to be something faster. There's always going to be something better. It's always going to be impossible to catch up to today's tech. Of course, it always sounds good to have on paper. It's great for bragging rights, of course, but it's not truly going to matter when it comes to your gaming experience. For anybody that does currently have a PC, obviously don't worry about this, especially because you more than likely, if you do have a 50 series already, or even a 40 series, honestly, you guys are good. You already have DDR5, 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabytes, whatever. Don't panic. Just worry about keeping what you have. Just have patience. Don't don't feel like you have FOMO, where you feel like you're missing out on purchasing items where they're cheap now. It should go a lot cheaper. And the reason being a lot of this, Let me just get to Falale's comment here. I think that Nova Lake and Medusa Ridge jump should be. I think so too. I think that's going to quite buy. Exactly. Just like Derry said, don't panic buy. Don't just end up buying because you feel like you're going to miss something. There's always going to be stock. The problem is it's not the stock. They're pricing it to the point where they know it won't sell. And the reason why is that's to completely avoid a true shortage. Because if you look at DDR5 now, they have plenty in stock. Like if we look at, say, let's go to PC parts here, and we're going to look for the memory again, and you're going to see how much memory they technically have. So sure, they're saying shortages, but it's not where we're at. Not like for the RAM side. They have shortages when it comes to the wafers. Now, when you take a look here, you're going to notice that they have 25 in stock, over 25 in stock, over 25 in stock, over 20. You see what I mean? You have, they have plentiful of RAM. It's bountiful. It's more so that they're creating a line. They're creating the price of demand, so to say, for the RAM currently. And they're pricing it to the point where they're outpricing the typical consumer to how they can afford the RAM. So they feel that if they put this price, this will also help hold the current volatility, and eventually it'll stagnate. Kind of like, think of it like how the market is, right? Like how how they price the market out. It's kind of like that. They're trying to deflate it. And the way to deflate it technically is to increase the prices and just hold it. And they'll just keep holding it until eventually it drops. This is their idea of kind of keeping control. Because if people do end up buying it at this price, at this demand, what happens to the price? It only goes up from here on out. So if people did say, you know what, $400 isn't bad, that's what would cause the pricing to also go up. Because then there would be, obviously, that would meet its demand. And then when a true shortage does unfold, then you would expect pricing for this to even go up even worse, because then there's even more demand for the wafers that they have. So the computer has 5800 XT and a 4070 Ti and 64 gigabytes of DDR4. And the crazy thing is, and again, so yeah, that's what I mean. You'll game fine on DDR4. You won't have issues. I'm confident my Threadripper would be able to game perfectly fine. Even though it's not meant for gaming, but it could game fine if it wanted to on DDR4. And this goes with a lot of people here. I see a lot of people on the internet calling to buy RAM at these prices stupid, but they cannot seem to wrap around their mind around the... Yeah, and the thing is, that's what I stress about to everybody is, if you have a PC already, do not panic buy. Do not purchase RAM if you don't need to. Because more than likely, that's going to last you for the life of the PC. You don't really have to upgrade RAM unless you are doing some sort of a change in your career, just say if you're changing into graphic design or something, I could see then you could need RAM. But for most people, they're not going to really need it, especially if you're just using your PC for gaming. Now, Gabriel says, I got that G-Skill kit of RAM for 280. Oh, really? That's actually decent. Has anybody really started looking at Facebook Marketplace to purchase RAM? It's gotten so bad. Just to give you an idea, the whole RAM situation got so bad that, in fact, they went to this designer company. I'm not sure where, but they went to this graphics designer company, and the people that actually went into the building, they didn't take anything. They actually broke the tempered glass that they had on the side of their PCs. Not to take like their GPU or nothing. They took all the RAM. They really did this. They took all the RAM. This happened last night, I think it was. So, Chris, be honest. What is the total amount of RAM? Not that much. Not nearly as much as J2 cents. Not nearly as much as that. I have some RAM laying around, but again, they're like for upcoming builds. I do have like 64 gigabytes in total of DDR5. But again, that's like for upcoming builds for this year. That's all I have that are spare. But in my PCs, it's nothing crazy. I have like 48 gigabytes on one and 64 gigabytes on my Threadripper build. And I wanted to expand on it. I wanted to get more, but obviously I am not planning to do that now. I'd much rather wait a couple years or even wait to build a new Threadripper PC at this point. and I plan on using mine for gaming and engineering. It makes sense to use it for that sense. In fact, LSG would be a great guy to talk to because he's on his project right now on building it. Tell us, tell us how much the address. Sure, I'll give you. How about I give you Micro Center's address? I promise they got much more RAM than I do. can can you please can you please spare us some DDR5? Oh, there we go. It's started. How about I reach out to all the suppliers out there and tell them to start giving out some RAM. Now it's at the point where RAM is like currency now. Like if you need to get something new, if you need to get a new GPU, just have 128 gigabytes of RAM, and that can easily get you a RTX 5090 at this point. It's really ridiculous. No more Bitcoin, just RAM. Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the price charts, let's take a look. We'll take a look at the price charts right now. RAM price charts. And I'll show you. All I ask is for 1 gigabyte. Can you imagine that? People in the streets, like all the homeless people just asking like, can I just have 1 gigabyte? I just need one gigabyte of RAM. or should I say 64 gigabits. So DDR5 6000. Now this is for 64 gigabytes in total for a pair of 232 gigabytes of RAM. So you can see right here, it's quite spiked up. Once it hit January, you can immediately see that it held around that $850 to $900 range. So I actually got a 7800X 3D for a 300 white for. That's awesome that you did. Everyone is lining up for DDR5. Well, yeah, that's the crazy part. And you know what the crazy thing is? DDR5, DDR4, they're getting to the point where they feel that the pricing is just quite ridiculous. In fact, let me show you in video cards. They'll even mention it here. I know they will. Here we go. Even DDR3, that old ass DDR3 is starting to see some popularity shifts. That is coming back to life. Believe it or not, people are actually purchasing DDR3. So, because of the sales. So this just shows you, even if they came out with the AM4 platform, right? If they came out with a motherboard that's AM4, that's not even going to technically help. I think when manufacturers see this, they're going to just think this is a reach for desperation. Funny thing is, I don't feel like it's a huge, it's not going to, because thanks to I think what really shifted everybody's mindset when it comes to the RAM side is more or so when it comes to this, because thanks to solid state drives completely kind of took over a lot of the factoring part, like what RAM used to be, like how it used to be the fill-in for the CPU to load everything. But the only people that would truly experience the difference when it comes to RAM is for those who are using a RAM heavy applications. Like if you are, I can say the more common issue is for those who are saying that opens up like 150 Chrome tabs for some reason. Those are the people that would certainly feel it. But most people out there know to close up their tabs most of the time. But those are the people that would certainly feel it. Those who have those really large Excel spreadsheets might even feel it. Those would be the more simpler processes of it. Or for those, but for the more complicated side, for the designer side, it would be more of the rendering. And for those who are using like things like After Effects, they would certainly experience something of the RAM factor. So that's kind of wild for understandable for DDR3. Yeah, I know it is. DDR3 is coming back to life now. All those forcing AI on us should pay for our RAM, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, we should have some sort of RAM fund, like for everyone out there who's been affected for RAM that needs RAM. They should have a RAM fund for everyone because of the need for it. And if you guys seen the AMD keynote, it's crazy like how much they emphasized it. I know Jerry can tell you this. They emphasized to everybody like how important memory was to AI. Like they just asked for more and more, and it's never enough. It's like that never-ending hunger. It kind of gives you that reminder of like Lord of the Rings, where it's like it's never enough. Like for example, in Lord of the Ring, it was like never enough like power, and but for them, it's like it's the same thing, but for the RAM side, they're more like it's never enough RAM for them. They always want more of it. So I have you on one of these tabs, so so take it off easy. Yeah, Yato bites of power. That's right. That's right. That was one of the big things that they love to say. They were like, has anybody heard of Yato bites?" And that was a big thing that they were really quoting on. And because of the keynotes, specifically because of from AMD, from things of hearing of NVIDIA, which was expected, it really makes me feel like I don't want to go to any more keynotes if it's going to be like this all the time. If they're just going to talk about AI every time, I don't want to go to it. It's a complete waste. So I understand AI uses 16 times the power than regular search also. And the thing is, people do abuse AI to the point because um, people will use AI to search simple tasks. Things like, how's the weather today? When you can simply just Google what is the weather today, which it does not take nearly as much power and for AI to answer a question like that. So just the resources for something like a question like that will cause the demand for AI to obviously go up. But there is going to be people, excuse me, there is going to be people out there that will do that. They will ask AI simple questions like you can things you can easily ask Google, like things like a simple multiplication a question. Instead of going to the calculator, they'll go to AI because it's a bit more convenient for them. So, what AIO will go great with the height Y70 Ti case? They actually have some amazing, like if you want to match your case with them, Height actually has their own type of CPU coolers that would actually go well with it. Um, I can always recommend the TYRX because that's obviously like a hot item right now. Um, you're looking for more performance too. So if you're looking for a bit more performance, you want to go for at least a minimum of a 360 AIO. Look for something like that. I would go for Heights. Let's go on Height and actually look. They actually have these wonderful, like really big displays, which are amazing. That would go well. You can track your temperatures with it. Now they do have the thick. That was one of them. Now this is the thick Q60 that can go well, but this is 240. Let's go to PC cooling here. Here you go. The Q80 is the one you would look for. So they do have something like this if you want to match it. It's an awesome display. It's really nice in person if you see it. And obviously the cooling plate is it works excellent. So if you want to get something like this would go great in a Y70, or you can go for something like more or so. If you're looking for true performance, let me think. Another one that's really good. Of course, you have Thermalright if you're looking for like a bit more of a budget, but also great and AIO usage. And I can also say there is one more brand I can say. Corsair is also pretty decent as well. But unless you like messing with Corsair's IQ, some people I know are a bit finicky about that. I would say those are some of the three I can tell you right off the bat. Now, what was the price of the 5K? They didn't tell me. They did not tell me. They said that they couldn't tell me the price of it. That it was going to be where they didn't really have a true release date of it, but they are working with they are trying to figure it out now. But they would have met. The closest one I did get though was the 3D stereoscopic display that they had, the 5K 6K display, and he said it would be like estimated probably like closer to like the like around like 2,000 for that display. But again, it is 5K 6K, so it has dual resolution and it has the 3D stereoscopic type of display if that is what you're looking for. But that was the closest one I could get. But they didn't really truly have a release date for any of them. The other ones were more prototypes and seeing if it would draw a lot of interest. But they are going to. Samsung does seem to be a bit interested in producing something like that. So do they make bigger than 420? They do have 480. They do have 480 AIOs. Besides a custom loop. There is a company that actually has a 480. I have to look them up. Let's look it up together. It's a 480 AIO. Was it? Let me see. 420, 480. Here goes one. Leisky. Something like this. They do have them, but it will look something like this. But you have to have a case that's able to fit it as well. Some people prefer like two 200 millimeter fans. If that's what you prefer, they do have those options. Does Arctic? Yeah, I think Arctic has one too. That's who I was thinking of. Arctic. Specifically, Arctic was the first one, but I remember, I think theirs is the 200 millimeter fans. Let me see. And that was one of the booths I did not get to go to. I got to miss. Did you get to see it, Jerry? Their booth? I completely they completely slipped my mind. They were one of the ones I wanted to check out, but they have some awesome stuff too. Let me see. Was it the Arctic? And I wanted to try their new thermal paste. Let me see. Air coolers, fans, all in one. Let's go check that out. Thermaltake, yeah. Thermaltake was a great time, I gotta say. Thermaltake had a great one. I don't think it was on Arctic's website. Where was it? I know I wrote it down. I don't think it was Arctic, but it's a similar brand like them. But every time I think of them, they're pretty similar. And they were at the, I know they were at CES. It wasn't Arctic, it was another one. What was it? Man. But once I find it, I'll definitely share it with you. No, Corsair, not Corsair. It's something like Arctic. It is something similar to Arctic, but I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it? Yeah, I'll figure it out. Like once I do, I'll definitely share it. But I remember there's another company out there that's similar. I think they're also in Germany too. It's another company in Germany. But they also do have 480 AIOs if anyone is interested in something like that. They even have cases which are pretty dope. Like, in fact, even Thermaltake actually had this case where they had two 200 millimeter fans that were on there. I think they're great to have. In fact, I'm excited even doing the whole Leanly 217. I'm waiting on the Arrow Lake refresh to finish this build because I do have this Ors Master just sitting here. It's been sitting here for almost a year because I just dreaded that old platform originally. And that's something that we will do and build on. But for I love Leanly. Sad. Yeah, theirs was a private booth as well, but you had to get to. Only thing is, sometimes it's really hard to get everywhere at CES. So it's like you gotta really plan well. Like for example, you have to have one day planned at the Venetian, and then one day planned at like the main hall, and then one day planned at Fontainebleau, because they're all in different like hotels. So sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to kind of travel around. But of course, there's always Computex that's coming up. Computex is coming up in June. Maybe hopefully it's a better show, but I am a bit fearful, I have to say, that it's going to be a similar run-of-the-mill AI, because when I went to Computex to check it out, their website, they also said it's going to be like powered by AI. I was like, oh, here we go again. Not again. Nobody wants to see this. No, I know nobody wants to see this, because it's like forcing it down everyone's throat at this point. So if you're not big on the keynote, skip. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I plan on doing now. Like the keynotes are good to go to. It's like a hit or a miss. I feel like anytime I go to a keynote, it's like pretty much a gamble. Except for NVIDIA's in 2025. That for sure I knew the 50 series is going to be released then. But when it came to every other keynote like this year, especially I thought AMD was going to finally hit a point. Like they were going to finally make their point on what they were going to do. That ended up failing miserably. I could have swore they didn't even announce the 9000G, which kind of pissed me off, which was one of the more simpler processors they could have announced. And the 9850XG wasn't even announced. They just ended up dropping it after the whole show, which didn't make any sense. We literally sat 3 hours of hearing AI, and that's it. That's 3 hours. which we could have definitely explored a lot more time into other brands and everything at the time. Watching it live, NVIDIA's presentation was the better than AMD's. Yeah. Oh, really? That's interesting. Jensen Huang is really good at speaking, I gotta say. Like, when he does speak, he's very good at what he does. He knows how to draw the crowd. He knows how to definitely talk to everyone. But it certainly sucks, though, like, when it's not meant for the gamers. It feels like it's more of a show that's meant for the investors. So, FanMem guys, that is all the time I unfortunately have today. We will also do another live coming up this upcoming Saturday. Hopefully you enjoyed today's live. If you have any questions about CES, or if you have any other questions, feel free to join in onto the Discord channel. Would certainly appreciate it. We can definitely talk to you then. The screen was cleaner at Flat Fountain Blue. Oh yeah. It's a big difference. Like, every keynote is different, like, when it comes to their performance, for sure. So I do appreciate everybody out there. I hope everyone has a great night. Again, if you have any questions at all, if you are thinking of doing a PC build and you want some advice, feel free to join in the Discord. It's free. You can definitely bring it up, and think about joining the wonderful members roundtable, as we definitely do have quite a bit of benefits for everyone there. Can join the roundtable at Discord too. So for all you people at the roundtable, just let me know, and I will change your role over on Discord as well. So thank you guys. Yes, I'm glad everyone does love the streams. And I gotta say, things will get better in time. It just sucks we have to go through this, but it's gonna be a volatile time. But yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, don't forget to hit the like button, and please don't forget to follow and subscribe. Thank you guys, and have a wonderful night.